can't
y'all
do
talking.
shit. Wait,
For
I don't
real.
give a fuck.
So I better be quiet.
I don't give a fuck if y'all was
All that
quiet,
ski
y'all
mask
was,
and
if y'all
all
was
that.
loud.
They got the whole hood over.
Gervonta Davis just unleashed one of the most intense and emotional face-offs we've seen in boxing recently, as he squared up with Lamont Roach in a fiery confrontation that almost turned into a full-blown brawl. This wasn't just a typical pre-fight standoff. It was something personal, a showdown packed with tension, insults, and threats. If you thought the rivalry between these two was heated before, the face-off definitely cranked up the temperature. The moment the two fighters locked eyes, all hell broke loose. Davis, with his usual icy demeanor, didn't say a word at first. He just stared down Roach, giving him the kind of look that could freeze anyone in their tracks. Roach, however, wasn't intimidated. In fact, he smirked, seemingly trying to get inside Tank's head. That was his first mistake. Davis wasn't having any of it. Without warning, he lunged forward, getting right in Roach's face, yelling, "I'm ending you." The security team rushed in, but the damage had been done. The verbal exchange quickly escalated, with Tank screaming insults at Roach and making it clear that he wasn't just planning to win the fight, he was going to destroy his opponent. "I promise you you're done," Davis yelled, as Roach defiantly shot back, not backing down for a second. This wasn't just a typical trash-talking session between two fighters. It was a raw, emotional confrontation, with both men throwing punches and words, testing each other's resolve. Roach's calm exterior only seemed to further fuel Tank's rage, and it's clear that something deep inside Davis had been triggered. But the back and forth didn't end there. As the fight talk continued, the tension between the two was palpable. Roach fired back at Tank's criticisms, accusing him of dodging real competition and picking easy fights. Meanwhile, Davis has been publicly calling Roach a nobody and saying that he's on a completely different level. These comments, plus some history between the two, were bound to make things explosive when they finally came face to face. Let's rewind a bit to understand why the face-off got so out of control. The bad blood between these two fighters has been simmering for months. They've been taking shots at each other in interviews, on social media, and even behind closed doors. At one point, Roach reportedly stepped to Davis in front of a bunch of other fighters at a private event, and Tank made it clear that he wasn't taking kindly to that kind of disrespect. This only added more fuel to the fire, and from that moment on, it was clear that these two were destined to clash. Roach, for his part, isn't backing down. He's been saying that Tank is losing his edge, that he's not the same fighter he used to be. "He's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out," Roach claimed, referencing Davis' recent talks about retiring. "He's losing his fire. He's losing his passion for the sport." Roach wants to face the best version of Davis, but he's confident that Tank is slipping, and he plans to take full advantage of it. But Davis is a different breed. He's not one to back down from a challenge. He's been looking for a knockout in every fight, and with Roach in his sights, he's making it clear that he's not just preparing to win, he's preparing to end the fight early. "I'm always looking for a knockout," Davis said. "I'm prepared for 12 rounds, but if I get the chance, I'm going to knock his head off." Things had been tense for a while, but when they finally faced off again in front of the cameras, the tension reached a boiling point. As the two stared each other down, Davis' eyes never left Roach's. The silence was deafening. Roach, however, couldn't resist the urge to try and get under Tank's skin. He smirked, maybe thinking that he could get Davis to crack. But that was a huge mistake. "I'm not worried about you or your family," Davis snapped. "You better leave them at home when we fight. When I knock you out, it's going to be a party." From there, things completely spiraled out of control. Davis kept yelling, hurling insults at Roach, and making it clear that he was coming for him with everything he had. "I'm ending you." "I promise you that," Davis repeated as Roach fired back. "You're done. You ain't ending nothing." The back and forth went on for several moments, with neither fighter backing down. It was clear that this wasn't just a fight, it was personal. At one point, security had to step in to separate the two, but it was evident that the emotional intensity was only going to get worse from here. Tank's anger was undeniable, and it was clear that Roach was enjoying every moment of it. Instead of being rattled, he kept egging Tank on, laughing and shaking his head like it didn't even faze him. But let's be real, he had to be feeling the heat. Davis is known for being intense, but he's also usually very calculated. Seeing him lose control like this wasn't something Roach could just brush off. This isn't the first time that Davis has let his emotions get the better of him. In his previous fights, he's been known to stay cool under pressure, but when he's pushed too far, he's been known to unleash a beast. Remember his fight against Rolando "Rolly" Romero? Romero's trash talk did nothing to rattle Davis before the fight, but once they stepped into the ring, Tank knocked him out cold in just a few rounds. Roach might have poked the bear, but poking Tank Davis is a dangerous game. One of the most interesting dynamics here is the potential impact that emotions will have on the fight. Historically, when Davis gets angry, he fights with even more aggression and intensity, which can make him even more dangerous. If Roach was trying to get inside Tank's head, it might have worked in the short term, but in the long run, it could backfire in a big way. There's a lot on the line here for Davis. Not only is his undefeated record at stake, but so is his legacy. Tank has been one of the top fighters in the lightweight division for years, knocking out anyone who dares to step in the ring with him. But with retirement looming, the world is wondering if Tank still has it. Will he be able to dominate like he did before, or has the fire burned out? Roach seems to think he can take advantage of Tank's uncertainty and make a statement, but Davis has shown time and time again that when he's cornered, he comes out swinging. But here's the big twist. Davis recently announced that he plans to retire after 2025. This means that his fight with Roach could be one of his last. Is Tank still the same beast he was, or is he slowing down? That's the question that everyone's asking, and Roach is betting that the answer is yes, but that's a dangerous gamble to make. Roach, on the other hand, is hungry. He's been trying to prove that he's the next big thing in the lightweight division, and this fight with Davis could be his big chance. But let's not forget that Roach isn't just some random opponent. He knows Tank's style better than most. These two have crossed paths before, in the amateurs and in camp together. Roach knows what Tank is capable of, and that gives him an edge. But will it be enough? The styles of both fighters are fascinating. Davis is a power-punching machine with insane knockout power and the kind of explosive footwork that can end a fight in the blink of an eye. Roach, on the other hand, is durable and slick, with a pressure-heavy style that can wear down his opponents if he drags them into deep waters. If Tank lands clean early, it could be a short night for Roach, but if Roach can withstand the early onslaught and drag the fight into the later rounds, things could get very interesting. So what happens next? Well, the hype for this fight is already off the charts, and with the emotions running as high as they are, this is shaping up to be one of the most explosive fights of the year. Roach clearly isn't intimidated by Davis, and that could make things even crazier when the two finally meet in the ring. But Tank isn't just fighting to defend his title, he's fighting to prove that he's still the top dog in the lightweight division. March 1st, 2025 at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn will be the stage for this epic showdown. And when these two fighters step into the ring, it's not just a title on the line, it's legacy. For Davis, this could be one of his final fights before retirement, and he's not about to let anyone, especially not Lamont Roach, ruin his farewell run. For Roach, this is his chance to shock the world and prove that he belongs at the top. So who's going to take this fight? Will Roach be able to back up his words and shock the world? Or will Davis remind everyone why he's still the baddest man in boxing? One thing's for sure, this fight is going to be one for the history books.